So just recently, I heard somebody saying that their parent was going to vote for Trump, but that he or she was not a racist. I find that an interesting position, and here's why. Because in 2016, Donald Trump was pretending to be this kind of populist figure. He was saying he was going to stop the wars. He was saying he wasn't going to start any new wars. He was pretending to be, and to some extent, anti-imperialist even. He was making claims that he was for the people, but most of us really didn't know who Donald Trump was. But you can't really say that now. You can't really pretend that you don't know who this figure is. And by the way, this isn't any sort of endorsement of Joe Biden. He's awful. He's a Republican that is racist, is probably even a crypto-fascist. He's Islamophobic. He's all sorts of things. I mean, that's what he is. But this is something I'm wanting to talk about Donald Trump. When there was a whole lot of people voted for Donald Trump, and not all of them were racist. In fact, a lot of them were voting for Donald Trump because they were fooled by his rhetoric, and also because they thought that he was going to do something for them that the other side of the duopoly wasn't doing for them. The Democratic Party is no real alternative to the GOP. So a lot of people voted for him because of that, because they thought that he might do something for them. Now, there's been 4 years later, and he has not demonstrated that he is any different from the Democrats, from the corporate-owned Democrats. He is just as much like them, and he is just as much into giving socialism for the wealthy, bailing out the corporations, and abandoning the people. Particularly in a pandemic, neither party wants to give the public Medicare for all, even in a pandemic. The people are just a political football for these two major corporate-owned warmongering parties. But you can't say that you don't know who Donald Trump is at this point. So to say that one is not racist if one is now voting for Donald Trump is a bit of a stretch. I'm sorry if this sounds kind of judgy, but I mean, he is an outright fascist. He is mocking and vilifying black people. He is pretending that Joe Biden is part of the radical left. He wants to actually crush the left, and he throws Joe Biden in with that. I mean, only an idiot would think that Joe Biden is part of some sort of radical left. And what is a radical left? People who just want to be treated fairly. They want society to be treated fairly. They want social equality. They don't want the planet to burn to a cinder. They want some justice. And they want peace. That's what the leftists that I know want. They want an end to these endless, ridiculous wars that are destroying the lives of black and brown people all over the world in these US imperialist wars. So, does Donald Trump want to destroy that? Yes, he does. Does the Democratic Party, the corporate Democrats, do they want to destroy the left? Yes, they do. Why do they want to destroy the left? They would rather have anyone than a remotely progressive person get into office. And that was demonstrated with the second time they sabotaged Bernie Sanders, and he let them. The duopoly hate the left. The duopoly hate the left, and they are together with that position. The political class, the capitalist class, the 1%, all hate the left, and a lot of the ideologues that follow the Democratic Party, including the celebrities, hate the left as well. It's very rare that you ever see one single celebrity supporting Bernie Sanders. Why? Because the Democratic Party is their party. They're going to protect their wealth, and so they're not interested in everyday people, even though celebrities often try and pretend that they're everyday people. But back to Donald Trump. He's very obviously, if he's just pretending to be these things, like a racist, Islamophobe, misogynist, etc., and a fascist, if he's just pretending that, because he's trying to rev up his base and throw some crumbs to the people in his base that really, are white supremacists and racist overtly. If he's just doing that, well, he's doing a very good job of pretending, and he's doing a very good job of revving them up. Which brings me to this next clip, which is, I find, particularly scary. I would even hope that he's pretending to be as unhinged as he looks like in this particular clip.
You got to get your governor to open up your state, okay? And get your schools open. Get your schools open. The schools have to be open, right? Lock them all up.
So that's Donald Trump. Sort of basically, it seems to go like this. He says something that revs up the base, and then the base revs him up. And then he says something else, and then the base revs him up. And it goes around like this. It's like some circular insanity. And what he was doing about talking about the, I think it was the governor of Michigan who was the target of a plot to kidnap her and then put her on trial and then execute her. Imagine 10 days after that happens to that woman, that he starts saying, lock her up, lock them all up. What kind of unhinged, demented psychopath behaves like that? Now, if you're voting, this isn't about voter shaming, this is just about pointing out something that is fairly apparent at this point. The Donald Trump of 2016 is not the Donald Trump of 2020. So anybody who says to you, if somebody says, I'm not a racist, but I'm voting for Donald Trump, then they're either unconscious, or they're lying to you, or they don't even realize they're racist. Because I don't see how on earth you could vote for this particular political figure after the last 4 years. Is Joe Biden a racist, white supremacist? Yes, he is. But this man, Donald Trump, I think, has delusions of grandeur, basically. I really think he thinks he's some kind of emperor. When he talked about getting the sheriffs to go down and execute Michael Reinold.
We sent in the U.S. Marshals. Took 15 minutes, it was over. 15 minutes, it was over. We got him. They knew who he was. They didn't want to arrest him. And 15 minutes, that ended.
He took great delight in saying that. Honestly, just like an emperor, if you've ever seen Gladiator, where, they put their thumbs down when they don't want a particular gladiator to live, or a particular target of that gladiator to live in the Colosseum. They put their thumbs down. And I see Donald Trump a bit like that. He seems to take great delight in this kind of, he's like drunk on power, basically. I think a lot of those people in the duopoly are drunk on power anyway. They never seem to know when to retire. They want to just keep on and on and on and on until the end. Look at Dianne Feinstein, look at Nancy Pelosi. They don't know when to retire because I think they love the power. And they're constantly, getting corporate lobbyist money and filtering that, and they're filtering money to their corporate friends all the time and ignoring the public. They're completely disconnected from what's going on with everyday people. And they don't care, really. I mean, what kind of, like Nancy Pelosi, how could you possibly be anything but lacking complete empathy to abandon people in a pandemic? The US reminds me of the Roman Empire in its falling. The bread and circuses with the emperor who is revving up the crowd, and the crowd is calling out, a sort of a bloodlust crowd, calling out for killing, for killing. And basically, it's frightening. It's frightening to witness.